and I'm a wedding photographer in New Hampshire. I started wedding photography professionally back in 2008. And when I had first hung out my shingle, I had a phone call one day from a young woman who was researching wedding photographers. She called and asked the typical questions. Then, almost tentatively during the conversation, she said to me, "This is a same-sex wedding. Do you do same-sex weddings?" And I said, I remember being a little taken aback by it. It never occurred to me that I would not do a same-sex wedding. I hadn't really thought about it. So I said, "Well, sure." I wasn't very eloquent. I was like, "Sure, why wouldn't I?" And she shared with me that she'd called several photographers, and some had politely refused. Some had not so politely refused, and then others just seemed gave her the impression that they were uncomfortable, which is not anything that a bride wants to have around her on her wedding day. Okay, so that was back in 2008 when I had first gotten that phone call. Over the years, the same-sex portion of my wedding photography business has grown. As a matter of fact, I think this past season, 80% of my business was same-sex weddings. I've had couples come from Maryland, Colorado, New York, because it's not legal for them to be married in their home states, so they come to New Hampshire. It's something I'm very proud of, that we can do that here. See, I said 80%, 80%. If the state of New Hampshire repealed same-sex weddings, there'd be a huge effect on my business. I mean, certainly I've had an investment now in publication advertising, website advertising. But more importantly than that is that these couples have the right to be married, to get married. Some of the couples that I've worked with have been together 30 years. One couple was together for 30 years. They thought that they'd never be able to marry. You just cannot imagine the joy that they had on their day. It was just so beautiful. Another couple, 15 years together. They just wanted to, in front of friends and family, make a commitment to each other to be together for their lives. To me, that's what the wedding is all about, whether it's a same-sex couple or a heterosexual couple. It doesn't matter. My business has grown to include a lot of, like I say, 80% of my last season business was gay weddings. I would, if the state of New Hampshire repealed it, I'd adapt. But that's not the biggest concern to me. The bigger concern to me is that it would be blatant discrimination and bigotry, and I think that that's really the bigger issue than my business. Were they to repeal it, I'm not sure I'd continue doing weddings. We have to see how hungry I was. But it certainly would definitely affect me. But more importantly, it would affect all these wonderful couples and their families.